I don't know how it got to this. It's become a monster. Please, God. Why? People think it's fine, but it's doing far more damage than they realize. It's a parasite. Someone needs to put an end to it. This is the Blue Yeti microphone. You know this microphone. You've seen it everywhere. Every streamer uses it. Every YouTuber uses it. Everyone who just goes on Amazon to buy a microphone because they think they need one uses this microphone. I don't understand why. There is a simple reason, and it's the paradoxical reason of because everyone uses this microphone. But we're gonna throw that garbage aside, and I'm gonna tell you why I hate this microphone, and then offer some alternatives. So a couple disclaimers before we get into the problems that I have with this Blue Yeti. If I'm not talking about any specific microphone, like right now, you'll be hearing me through my Rode NT5, which is this beautiful thing right here. That's what you're gonna be hearing me through. Not through this Blue Yeti, not through any of the other microphones I'm talking about. So I'm talking about the Blue Yeti right now, so you're hearing me through the Blue Yeti, but otherwise, I'm gonna be talking through the Rode NT5. Also, I should mention that I did not EQ any of the mics except for the NT5. I only boosted their levels. There are three main reasons that I do not enjoy this microphone for what it is, and just sort of have developed a disdain for it over the years. The first one being its sound signature. If you couldn't tell, I'm gonna pick it up here. It's a USB microphone. It goes into a computer, a laptop, a Mac, whatever. It's a USB microphone. That's its only port. So it has a very digital sound. It has an incredibly digital sound signature. What that means in layman terms is just that the sound you're gonna get out of it is a lot more tinny than an analog mic, just in general. Even analog mics, some can be more tinny than others. Usually cheaper mics are tinnier. The first thing is just the sound signature, which you're hearing right now. I don't enjoy it. I personally really don't like the sound that comes directly out of the Yeti. It does have different options to change the pickup pattern of it, but you will always get the same digital USB cable sound signature. The second main reason that I really don't like the Yeti is because of its lack of modularity. This is a USB microphone, and it will always be a USB microphone. There is no room for improvement. There is no room for adding traditional recorders or external preamps to boost the gain of it to take rid of some of that noise or just get a more clear analog signal out of it. It is purely a USB mic. In addition to it not having an XLR port, the Yeti is a very weirdly designed mic. It's this very strange cylindrical shape that is usually not seen in mics, so it can't fit on a traditional mic clip, like something like the very famous Shure SM58. You're not going to be able to fit one in there. It does have a sort of standard thread at the bottom, which is how I have it on this mic stand, but if you take it off their provided, mic stand that they give you, which has no height adjustment, but does have swivel, then you can't swivel it anymore. So, and then to get it on, like a boom stand or any kind of scissor arm, you have to buy their own traditional, like, shock mount or weird third-party aftermarket clip for it. It's just, why design it this way? If you're trying to sell, like, a super modular mic that can work in any situation and works for anyone, why make it this big, and why make it not able to fit just the wide variety of clips that every other mic can fit into? So the sound signature isn't ideal, and the design isn't perfect. So what? For a starter mic, $40 to $50, that's fine, that's great. Beautiful, just take it. These are things that you have to deal with when you're buying a low-end starter mic. Except for the fact that this mic does not cost $40 to $50. This one does. Its younger brother, the Blue Snowball, of which I have 3. I don't know where the other 2 are, but here's one of them. This mic costs $100 to $120. I don't know why. Alright, this mic and Blue in general as a company is sort of the Apple of microphones. They make pristine, beautiful looking microphones that are super overpriced and don't work very well, especially when compared to their competitors. And that's coming from someone with an Apple Watch and an iPhone X, so no bias here at all. The problem with having Apple's design approach for microphones is that microphones don't need to look pretty. They can look as ugly as sin, as long as they sound good and they're as expensive as they should be. No one gives a shit about a nice, beautiful, cylindrical microphone if it's not going to fit on a standard thread and is just going to cause issues. No one cares if your microphone comes in a billion different colors if it's overpriced and, again, just doesn't sound very good. The price is the thing that bothers me the most, because the Yeti isn't awful in terms of sound. Yes, it has that digital sound signature to it, but with a tiny bit of EQ, you can alleviate that a little bit, and it's very modular. It can do things with all these pickup patterns that other mics around the same price point can't. That's cool. Those are nice features to have, but it seems like they're trying to make such a profit based on its design alone and the merit that it's so popular that everyone's gonna buy it anyway, that it just ends up being this mediocre product with alternatives that are cheaper and better. Speaking of alternatives, this is our first one. This is the Audio-Technica Atr 2020 XLR edition. There's a USB version of it. I will get into that in a second. So, this is the closest comparison to the Yeti in terms of price point and pickup pattern. Most of the time, people using the Yeti are using it for streaming or voiceover to capture one voice, and you would be using the cardioid pickup pattern, which just captures audio from the front of it. The Audio-Technica Atr 2020 does the same exact thing. It doesn't have those other options for the pickup patterns like the Yeti does, but it is designed to be a cardioid condenser microphone that is for voiceover. In terms of price range, both setups that I'm about to talk about, you can get brand new on Amazon for around $150, which, yes, is more than the Yeti, but you are getting an XLR microphone that is much more modular than the Yeti, and one that comes with a standard stand that you can put on basically anything. So the setup for the Atr 2020 that I'm using right now is just the mic plugged into a field recorder over there. It's beautiful. I love her. She's great. But there are ways to turn this mic into a USB mic if you feel so inclined, aside from just buying the USB version, because there is a USB version. It retails for $150. The XLR version retails for $100. But you can buy this thing, the Blue Icicle. Yeah, you heard me, Blue. It is an XLR to USB preamp. That's what this knob is. It's a gain knob because there's a preamp inside of here, which is very good. That turns an XLR input into a digital USB input. This is basically a very stripped down version of a mixer, which I would recommend getting a $50 mixer over this $50 Icicle, because more modularity, you can plug more than one mic into it. But if you just want to convert a cable, get this. Do not get one of those just like USB or XLR to USB things with no preamp or nothing, because it's going to sound real bad. There's going to be a lot of noise going on, so just don't buy one of those. And again, the reason for going with an XLR mic is because of the sound signature being less digital and more modularity. You can plug this into anything. Like, I have it into a field recorder right now. Field recorders do not have USB inputs. I'm sure there are some weird ones out there, but traditionally they don't have USB inputs. They deal with analog stuff. So get an analog mic. So that's the Audio-Technica Atr 2020. It is my favorite alternative to the Blue Yeti in its similar price range that I am most familiar with. But it is not the one that I most recommend. People buy the Yeti because they want a cheap prosumer mic that will get them started with some solid audio quality. But there is a much better option out there. And it's called the Audio-Technica Atr 2100 USB. That's a mouthful, but it is a beautiful, beautiful, lovely little boy of a microphone. And I'm going to tell you why. Also, just a quick side note, I painted this one blue. It traditionally comes in silver. So why am I so in love with this mic? Well, for starters, it's $60. It's so cheap, and you hear it, it sounds fantastic. And we're gonna do some sound comparisons between all three in a minute, but this thing is $60, so that's price knocked out of the Yeti entirely. It is half the cost of the Yeti in some circumstances, of course, depending on where you buy it and if there's sales and shit, but it's half the price of the Yeti. Price, gone. You wanna talk about modularity? This bitch has a USB port, a headphone jack, and an XLR port. So if you just want to plug it directly in your computer and get started from there, and maybe eventually in the future move on to some kind of external preamp or a mixer or anything under the sun that requires an analog signal, that XLR port is waiting for you for $60. And the sound signature, it's great. It's flat, it's beautiful, it just sounds... There's no digital sound to this microphone at all. The only thing that I could say about the sound signature that could be better is its range. It's dynamic, like you can't really scream into these microphones, but it's a $60 mic. $60 mics are not going to have the dynamic range of a film mic, you know? But $60. If it's not inherently obvious yet, price point is a huge factor to me in terms of these mics. I mentioned the AT2020 because it's a similar price range to the Yeti, but does the Yeti's job better. I mentioned the ATR2100 because it does the Yeti's job better for half the cost. And just as a complete side note here, depending on the circumstance, your phone microphone is probably fine. You don't gotta drop $100, just use your phone mic. But I understand that's not very relevant, considering that you're probably using these mics to stream, but I just wanted to mention more people should be using their phone mics because you don't really think about that, huh? Now it is time for a sound comparison between these three beautiful boys. I have told you my opinions, I want you to form your own, so we're just gonna do a completely objective reading of the first paragraph of the hair loss Wikipedia page, and I'm just gonna swap between them, and you're gonna make your own opinion. Hair loss, also known as alopecia or baldness, refers to a loss of hair from part of the head or body. Typically, at least the head is involved. The severity of hair loss can vary from a small area to the entire body. Typically, inflammation or scarring is not present. Hair loss in some people causes psychological distress. So there you go. I've given you my opinions on these three mics. I've presented you with some facts. Now it's time for you to draw your own conclusion. If you are in the market for one of these Blue Yetis, I hope I have swayed your opinion to, at the very least, try the ATR2100. Don't buy the AT2020. Look, if you want to spend over $100 on a mic, as seems to be the case with the Yeti, just buy this, that's fine, but like, why wouldn't you buy this mic? Buy this mic and then upgrade as you go. This one is just, it's so good. If I could marry this mic, I would. And hey, if you still want to go with the Yeti because you think it looks good, or just you trust it because you've heard it so many times, that's fine. Don't listen to me. Buy whatever the hell you want. I'm just telling you, you might regret it. So I'm going to reclaim the bag now. And this is my journey. My original plan was to throw it into a lake. And I came here because on the map it said there were a few bodies of water, but I think they're all the way down there. Well, this looks interesting. I've come across a ravine. I might be able to go over that way. I will litter if it means I will live. Here's the leap of faith. I'm not actually gonna jump. Just a little bit of a hop, and we're across. I think we're almost there. I can see it. That's the mission objective. I can smell it. It's right there. But it is stuck in a bunch of brambles. Making our way through a big bramble patch. Oh God, ow, ow. Oh. Okay, I think I can get at it. Here goes it. Oh, I can touch it. It's stuck. Oh. We got it! Mission success. It's a candle, not a Blue Yeti.